Welcome to Tony's cow wrangling, cow whisperer video. Over there, hello, over there we have a herd of cows, and there's a few more. In fact, there may be horses over there. Anyway, we've got a herd of cows over here. Now, we don't know what they're going to do, and we're not going to worry about what they're going to do. They may, of course, you know, do nothing. They may just stay over there and head over that hill and head up that way. Quite possible that they will head down towards this stream and water down here, because we are pitched very, very close to some route down there towards the water, which I suspect has been frequented. So we are, you know, for want of a better term, right in their path. And there's cow mess here, mess there. So, you know, they definitely are likely to come in this direction. Now, I can't remember the name of the channel, and even if I could, I would not name and shame, because I don't think that's fair. But I was watching a video where I think a very pleasant gentleman and his family, maybe a wife and one or two children, I'm not sure, were camping by a tor, and some cows approached them. And I have to say, I was quite surprised and shocked. And like I said, I'm not singling them out, because I'm sure many people could do the same thing. But I just think correct cow etiquette needs to be brought forward, because people watching a video like that, which had quite a few views, quite a few subscribers, you know, may get the wrong idea as to what to do. What you definitely do not do, and as I saw in the video, now I can't say how close the cows were in the video, but what I definitely witnessed was the gentleman walking over towards the cows. I suspect they were probably closer than these are here, but I don't think they were particularly close. Not close enough to warrant, you know, walking over to them. Obviously, I've got a dog, so I take extra care and precaution, you know, with a dog. If you see cows, don't walk towards them. Just leave them very well alone. If you go towards them, especially if they got calves and young and things like that, you're really just opening yourself up for worry and stress, and, you know, maybe something to go wrong. Now, I understand that obviously if you have a young family, you want to protect your family. That's given and obvious. And certainly if you want to put your family somewhere safe, if you are a little unsure and you've got somewhere where you could put them on top of a tor, as happened in this video, then, you know, that's fair enough. And obviously if you're concerned or scared of cows, then, you know, again, that's fair enough. I don't want to knock you know, what people don't understand, because that's just not fair, and there's too much of that. But assuming that you're either by yourself, or even if you have other people and they are concerned, or you have a dog, which is even more unpredictable than a wife and family, my suggestion, and obviously if you get trampled and killed, don't come blaming me, but my suggestion would be that you get them into the tent, maybe not cocooned inside a sleeping bag where they literally can't get out, but get them inside the tent, tarp, shelter, whatever, because that is your safe zone. So get them in there, kindly, calmly, just say, they're just some cows, they're fine, nothing's going to happen, you're safe here, just stay quiet, relaxed, maybe get the children or the wife to put some headphones on, listen to some music, just calm. And basically wait it out. And they will pass within 20 minutes, an hour, depending on what kind of speed they're going. But what you don't do, what you absolutely don't do, is start Googling what to do when there are cows. Well, you can do that, of course, but I suspect you're going to get a lot of conflicting advice on what to do. Most of it will probably be incorrect. What I'm saying might even be incorrect, so you can take what I'm saying with a dose of salt. But I've been camping out here, the expert that I am, for 10 years, all of that time with a dog, all of that time, you know, with cows around. So I think I have enough experience of dealing with cows, despite not being a farmer or ever having owned a cow, having walked around Cheddar, through cows and things like that. Now, my advice is, if they start to get too close, first of all, make sure that your family is inside the shelter safe. And get yourself inside the shelter as well. But just monitor what's going around. Now, if they start to get too close, as they did on a couple of occasions with me, I have a video, I think it's last winter, when I arrived just up there, where I wanted to camp was literally surrounded by cows. And I didn't want to turn my back on them and start pitching, because they were getting very, very close. I could literally have touched the nose of one of them, it was so close. And I don't know how many there were, but there was a lot. The video is up there, you can see it. And I just stood there, I kept Lassie under control, and we just waited it out. We waited, we didn't pitch anything, we did nothing. I just stood my ground for about, it must have been a good 20 minutes or more, just standing there. And eventually they got started very slowly to get bored. When the one that got a little bit too close, I didn't go screaming and shouting and going shoo, 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 and making lots and lots of unnecessary noise, which really could scatter them, could spook someone who's with you, especially if you've got a dog. If they start to get close to you, if you've got a walking pole is useful, not for touching them or doing anything, but just hold it, you know, in front of you a bit like a Jedi sword, and it just makes you look a little bit more imposing and bigger than you actually are. And if they did, let me just get inside, it's starting to rain. And if they did start to get, you know, a little bit too close, or, you know, went to charge you, then at least you've got something which you can give them a tap if necessary. And I will say that I have so far never needed, you know, to do that. All I've ever had to do, and I've had them where they've literally been just outside the door here when I was up there, and that was getting a little bit too close, you know, for comfort. So in that instance, I did step out and literally took like 2 steps, and I was, you know, virtually next to one of the cows that was eating, and I just said, come on then, move back, come on, move back. Just, it doesn't really matter what you say because they don't understand what you're saying, but, you know, fairly gruffly, fairly abruptly, not too loud, not too, you know, over the top. Just say, come on, let's just move back a bit now. Cool, calm, relaxed. And you don't have to be trying to shoo them back, you know, 20 miles or anything like that. Just gently, you know, coax them 10 or 20 meters away from camp, and then come back to camp. Don't go trying to shoo any others away, and if all the others are further than that or are not coming right into camp, just come back into camp, and if necessary, just stand in the doorway so that they can see that there's not just a shelter here, but there is, you know, an object here, a human here that doesn't want you getting too close. And just basically just stand your ground. Cows are not like sheep and horses. The sheep and the horses, they're very scared and they will just run away, you know, very quickly. But cows, they're very, very inquisitive, and they will come over and have a look and see what you're doing. So just stay very calm, very relaxed, and for the most part, just ignore them. If you've got a dog, get your dog inside the shelter and just keep it quiet. Maybe put it on a lead if necessary, but try not to let it bark. What you don't want is your dog running out, barking at everything, you know, barking at all the cows and scattering them everywhere. And also, I really don't think you want to be going out and screaming and shouting and yelling and hollering, whatever, at them and making a racket, because that's also likely to spook them and maybe scatter them. And God, you know, if they start running or something, you're not really going to be able to stop them. So I really do think you're better off just being quiet and just ignore them. Let them pass. They will pass. They're just looking for food and water like the rest of us. So give them, you know, 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe even an hour. It might be a while before they, you know, before they plod past. They're not the quickest of things, and they're not exactly ever in any hurry to get going or anything else like that. So that's just a few, you know, a few thoughts on, you know, on cows. Quiet, calm, get into your tent, protect yourself, protect your family in the tent, have a walking pole to hand if you have one, stand your ground by the door if necessary, and if they get really too close, the only time that you will approach them is if they're coming to your shelter and they get to within like 1 or 2 munching, because all their heads are just going to be down to the ground eating most of the time. Maybe they will just come a little bit closer, quite inquisitive, just to have a look. More often than not, they'll look, see you're not particularly edible or interesting, they'll turn around and walk away. And that's the best thing that can happen, is to let them have a look, see you're not that interesting, they will turn around and they will carry on walking. And that way you will have zero interaction with them. Just do nothing. If on the rare occasion they come up to within like 1 or 2 meters of camp, let's say you were sitting down, as I was in one camp, and it was literally outside the door, and I thought, how close are you? And then I looked, I thought, bloody hell, you are quite close, aren't you? It was literally eating grass outside the door. Lassie was down over here. Luckily, she wasn't doing anything. And I just very, very calmly, very quietly, because I didn't want to startle it so close, just stood up in the door and then just waited a minute or like 30 seconds just to see what it was or wasn't going to do. Was that enough for it to move? Just stand there and see, and it still stood there, it still kept eating bloody grass there. So in that instance, I did just take half of a step towards it, said, come on, back you go. Maybe a bit more harsh than that, but you know, they've got a fine balance between, you know, over the top, just come on, shift, a few stern words like that, and then they will back away. And that's how I've always dealt with them, and I've not had any problem. And like I said, many times I've had them, you know, wandering around camp. Only 2 or 3 times have they got, you know, very, very close. So this is a bit longer video than I anticipated. Probably, you've probably all turned off by now. I hope it's helped 1 or 2 of you. Don't worry about cows, they ain't going to do anything. Just be, you know, careful and cautious. Any comments or questions, post them below. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. You can see dead ahead that we have some cows. Now I'm going to talk quietly. Now I'm going to talk quietly because I don't want to disturb the cows or spook Lassie. Now you can see that in this instance, you know, just lucky as I'm approaching, they're moving off anyway. It looks like some youngsters, there's some older cows over there, and just a couple of young ones down here. So we'll just see what happens as we get nearer, because we need to get through the gate to the right, and luckily in this instance they're moving off, so I don't need to do anything. So we kind of got lucky on that one. I thought there was going to be one down by the gate and I'd have to shift it, but no.